Time to go over changes which removed class identity from WoW, as a large aspect of what changes the game for everyone. Let's go over mages first. So with mages, they have a spell called Conjure Refreshment. On live, you have Conjure Refreshment. This conjures mana and food for you and your allies. Conjured items disappear if logged out for more than 15 minutes. On vanilla, spells are similar. You have Conjure Food and Conjure Water. This is one of the spells that defined a mage for speeding up the process in a dungeon, questing, or raiding. Live has removed the need for Conjure Refreshment. Mana recovers fast, or every character has something that regenerates their mana almost immediately. Health also regenerates out of combat very fast, and if you're in a dungeon or in a raid, guaranteed you will get a heal because mana is so easy to come by. So these scenes of consistently making water for everyone are gone. It's just gone. Polymorph transforms the enemy into a sheep. They cannot attack or cast spells, but will regenerate very quickly. Any damage will transform the target back into its normal form. Only one target can be polymorphed at a time. Only works on beasts, humanoids, and critters. I think the only change here is the fact that they regenerate very quickly instead of immediately. I can't remember the last time on live that somebody actually had to poly an enemy on live other than for PvP. In Classic, this was required. Almost every fight in a dungeon or a raid, marking targets for poly or sap. Basically, if you didn't have a mage or rogue, you were less likely to complete the dungeon. Another feature that made mages a very necessary class. Slowfall. Slows a group member falling speed for 30 seconds. This is mainly a quality of life feature, but mages had it for only the cost of a simple light feather. Nowadays, you get a parachute from dropping off a flying mount, or get a goblin glider kit, and call it good. Who needs a mage anyways? Frost Nova. Blast enemies within 12 yards of you for frost damage and freezes them in place for 8 seconds. Damage may interrupt the freeze effect. Who cares about AoE stuns anyways? Effects stay the same, but now all I have to say is Shockwave, Leg Sweep, Lightning Surge Totem, Chaos Nova, Binding Light, Mind Bomb, Remorseless Winter, and the list goes on for all these stuns that everybody has. Portals. Who needs portals when you have a Garrison Hearthstone, regular Hearthstone, a Tolerant Hearthstone, to all places with portals to every zone? Portals were something people would pay top dollar for because they weren't necessarily the easiest thing to get. And then there's Arcane Intellect. It increases the target's intellect based on a rank for 30 minutes. This is another must-have in dungeons. Next, let's go over Hunters. First off, can't live without mana. Mages. Now, Hunters had to feed their pets. Their pet's happiness level changed the way that they played entirely. Awful or great emotion on their pet. Hunters are the masters of kiting. They had so many slows, instant cast slows, trap slows, and their pet could attack while they ran away and shot. I have trouble comparing this class because of how different it is now. Literally a different world. Aspect of the pack. The hunter and group member within 30 yards take on the aspect of a pack of cheetahs, increasing movement speed by 30%. If a pack member takes damage, they will be dazed for 4 seconds. Only one aspect can be active at a time. This was useful, but also dangerous. One of those things that made you not want to have a hunter in your party because it could totally screw you if they had it turned on. What really messes this class up and removes the class identity is that many other classes have slows now besides mage, and there is AoE damage that every class has. I'm not going to continue to reiterate myself, just know that almost every class has an AoE stun or AoE damage now, if not every class. Rogues. Rogues were known for sap, lockpicking, and pickpocketing. Sap incapacitates a target not in combat for 1 minute. Only works on humanoids, beasts, demons, and dragonkin. Damage will revive the target. This is the same thing as mages. Very crucial to dungeon or raid groups, a necessity. These are the only 2 classes with permanent damage removal until knocked out. Not necessary in live, very crucial in vanilla. Picklock. Allows opening of locked chests and doors. You know those things in live that require lockpicking? You get them open and it's a bunch of useless shit? Yeah. Those used to actually have some value. People would pay rogues to unlock them. Pickpocket. Picks the target's pocket. You could sometimes get some interesting shit out of this. And money, of course. Sprint. Increases the rogue's movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds in Classic and 70% in Live. Rogues and Druids were the only classes who had a sprint. Mage had a blink. Druids. Mark of the Wild. Increases the friendly target armor by an amount on all attributes for 30 minutes. This buff is a necessary buff when it comes to raiding, as well as a very useful one during dungeons. Feral Druid wasn't really a thing in vanilla, and balance was kinda a thing. Generally, Druids got put on Resto, however when BC came out, they became known as the Boomkin, because, well, they were OP as fuck. The huge utility as a Druid is you could tank, heal, or DPS. All three were viable, not that much different from now, but they were very obviously a support class that could be used as a primary. Paladins. Paladins were especially good against the undead race, as holy damage had a specific effect towards them. Turn undead. The targeted undead enemy will be compelled to flee for up to some odd seconds. Damage cost may interrupt the effect. Only one target can be turned at a time. Exorcism causes a chunk of holy damage to an undead or demon target. On top of the undead specific spells, the Paladin also had many buffs for the group. Blessings which were very necessary to raid groups or dungeons, and one of the few stuns. For Molten Core, you can only imagine how useful the Fire Resistance aura is. And Hammer of Justice stuns the target for 6 seconds. Priest. You're a healer. If you think you're a Shadow Priest, you're wrong. I'm not going over this one. If you think that isn't enough of a name for a class diversity speech, then I'm sorry, but come on. Shamans. Need I say Wind Fury Totem? You were not a class who was meant to do the most damage. Don't get me wrong, with enough Wind Fury procs you could do some crazy damage, but that is not the point of a shaman. You are a support class. You make everybody else twice as strong and generally play a healer. Enhancement could be done, but definitely not elemental. Wind Fury Totem provides a chance to all party members to have an additional attack. Strength Totem increases strength of all party members. Mana Tide Totem regenerates mana at a significant rate. Flame Tongue Totem, extra damage on top. All of these are definitive. In live, not necessary, but in classic, super useful. Something that also provided on top of the class diversity, faction diversity. Alliance gets the gaze, stun-locking, buffing, Molten Core easy mode Paladin, so the Horde deserves to double everybody's damage to prevent them from running out of mana. Shaman. Fucking Paladins. Warlocks. Summoning. Summoning stones didn't work once upon a time. This provided a huge benefit to have a Warlock in the world, where you could not hearth every 15 minutes to a hub world with 5 other portals using one of your 3 hearthstones, then fly at 300% speed. Healthstones. Healthstones are still useful in live, but it's not the same. These were a saving grace, more often in even lower level places. Healing sometimes wasn't an option considering they were out of mana by the end of the fight or halfway through the fight. Fear. Fear locking, or just the fact that I'm pretty sure Warlocks were the only class with a fear, but this wasn't always good. If somebody feared an enemy into another group of enemies during a dungeon, you could pretty much just call it a wipe. Warriors were the only class that had to stack truly. You used taunt, balanced threat, and threat was a real mechanic, I promise. It's not a myth, while micromanaging your shield wall. Sunder armor till the stacks are full to reduce the target's armor. Rend a target to make it bleed and generate some threat. Use revenge when it procs to generate threat. Truly the name of the game as a warrior was have as much rage as possible, sustain sunder armor, and generate as much threat as possible. The moment the threat goes away, you either get it back or call it a wipe. Anyways, I hope this was detailed enough explanation on many of the features in Classic that created the diversity among class. If you like this content, like, comment, and subscribe to see more. Thank you for watching.